The day of reckoning is upon us. Richard Hart, or Richard Schuler, whatever you want to call him, has been sued officially by the SEC for his scam, HEX and pulsechain. I previously made videos about these, calling them scams, and you can go back and watch those if you choose. But before we dive into this, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what's going on, I just want to throw out that I am not happy about the fact that thousands of people out there have been scammed by this guy. It doesn't bring me joy to give this news. With that being said, there are a ton of people in the HEX community that have acted like this is some sort of cult, that have given me crap about the previous videos that I have made. And those people, even them, I still feel sorry for them. I honestly do. Because those people were also conned into purchasing this token or this coin, and they didn't deserve that either. So I just want to throw that out there before we get into this. All right, so what's going on? SEC sues Richard Hart of HEX and pulsechain for allegedly selling unregistered securities. And this is something that I previously said in another one of my videos, was that regardless of what you call it, he chose the word sacrifice whenever people gave their Ethereum, their HEX tokens, their USDC, whatever they gave to the sacrifice address. He called it a sacrifice. But essentially what it was an ICO. And ICOs are unregistered securities according to the SEC. All right, let's read. The SEC has sued Richard Schuler, more widely known in the crypto industry as Richard Hart, for allegedly conducting a sale of unregistered securities. Hart is the founder of pulsechain, pulsex, and the project HEX, both of which have been marred in controversy during their existences. Hart raised more than $1 billion by selling tokens for these projects, according to the SEC, which is the focus of the lawsuit. The SEC said Hart had previously made comments suggesting that HEX will increase in value. In the lawsuit, the SEC noted that the price of HEX is down 98.4% from its all-time high, and the tokens for the other two projects are practically worthless. The SEC claims Hart defrauded investors by misappropriating at least $12 million of customer funds, using them for personal purchases of luxury items instead of developing the protocols. Eric Wall, who has previously debated Richard Hart on stage and on video, posted the actual complaint that was filed. Here you can see the summary of the action. Richard Schuler, also known as Richard Hart, is an American-born internet marketer, content creator, and serial entrepreneur living in Finland. Hart operates through three unincorporated alter ego entities, HEX, pulsechain, and pulsex. Beginning in December 2019 and continuing for at least the next 3 years, Hart raised more than $1 billion in the unregistered offer and sale of crypto asset securities to retail investors in the U.S. and abroad. Hart engaged in 3 separate offerings, HEX, pulsechain, and pulsex. Each was and is a crypto asset security, and pulsechain and pulsex are crypto asset security platforms designed, created, and maintained by Hart. Hart continually touted these investments as a pathway to grandiose wealth for investors, claiming that HEX, for example, was built to be the highest appreciating asset that has ever existed in the history of man. Just think about how ridiculous that sounds. Most people would look at that and say, that sounds way too good to be true. And the vast majority of people out there in the crypto space saw it as just that, too good to be true. It sounds like a scam. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme, and never touched HEX. But there were people that really dug their heels into this, and it's sad. Look, I don't have a lot more that I want to say about this. Yesterday, I released a video talking about PLSX's new scam, PondOX, and it honestly gives me a lot of flashbacks of when HEX first launched. There were people in the community for HEX that valiantly defended Richard Hart and what he was building, even though all he was building was wealth for himself. And I think the same thing can be said for PLSX here on his new token, PondOX. But there are already people out there defending him against the video that I made yesterday. And so this is just a great reminder in all of this that you really have to protect yourself out there in the crypto space. There are going to be red flags that are more apparent to others, but there are so many things that you can do to research these things and determine whether or not they are scams. But the majority of these scams have people like Richard Hart or PLSX or ETHBen, these types of figures that are very outrageous figures that say and do a lot of really outlandish things that draw people's attention. And they almost get idolized by these groups of people. And that's why people on the outside consider these types of projects and these tokens and coins to be very cult-like. That's all I want to say about that today. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that because it really helps my channel grow. That's going to be it. Crypto Clay, out.